Four young lives, Kaylee, Madison, Zana, and Ethan, were brutally taken, and the suspect, BRYAN KOHBERGER, has left us grappling with questions about motive, behavior, and mental health. Welcome to Therapy Crime Scenes, where I look at crime scenes that shock the world and examine them through the lens of mental health. I'm Cordray, a licensed professional counselor, and today we're going to take a look at the Idaho murder case in 2022, where four young University of Idaho students were taken. BRYAN KOHBERGER's story reveals signs of a mind in turmoil. I'll unpack this case, I'll highlight the mental health indicators, and reflect on what it means for us all. Without assuming guilt, the trial is still set. It's set for August 2025, and that's coming up. So this isn't just another true crime story. It's a chance to understand the human psyche. On November 13, 2022, Moscow, Idaho, a sleepy college town, woke to a tragedy. Four University of Idaho students, Kaylee, 21, Madison, 21, Zana, 20, and Ethan, 20, were found stabbed to death in their off-campus home on King Road. Autopsy showed they were likely asleep when attacked, some with defensive wounds, each stabbed multiple times. The brutality stunned the community, which hadn't seen a murder since 2015, but two roommates survived. There were reports of hearing strange noises around 4 a.m., seeing a masked man in black with bushy eyebrows, leaving the house and mistaking Zana's body for someone passed out, possibly drunk. Police found a K-bar knife on Megan's bed with male DNA, a statistical match to Kohlberger, a 28-year-old criminology PhD student at Washington State University, just 15 minutes away. Cell phone records show that Kohlberg's phone pinged near the house 12 times before the murders, and his white Hyundai Elantra matched surveillance footage. He was arrested on December 30th, 2022 in Pennsylvania, and he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. A not guilty plea was entered, and that moved his trial date further back. BRYAN KOHBERGER wasn't always a suspect. He was born in Pennsylvania, and he was also described as a bright but awkward person. He was bullied for his weight, which he lost 100 pounds in high school, transforming into a different person. His criminality interest led to a 2020 essay on crime scene investigation, eerily detailing DNA contamination prevention, which is relevant as the prosecutors found DNA on the knife's sheath. Kohlberger's mental health history, revealed in court documents and online posts, paints a complex picture. Between 2009 and 2012, as a teenager, he posted 118 times discussing visual snow syndrome, a neurological condition causing static-like vision. In 2011, at 16, he wrote, "I feel like an organic sack of meat with no self-worth," describing depression, dark thoughts, anxiety, poor social skills, and no emotion. He felt blank, like life was a video game, with little remorse for his actions, even being mean to his family. These posts, verified by a friend to ABC News, suggest depersonalization and emotional detachment, possibly linked to visual snow's anxiety. In 2025, unsealed court filings confirm Kohlberger's diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder while in custody. His defense argues that ASD explains his flat affect, intense gaze, and rigid thinking, potentially misread as a lack of remorse. OCD manifests itself in many different ways, such as compulsive hand washing or getting rid of a shower curtain, and leading to sleep issues like nighttime drives, which is alibi for the murder night. Past heroin use, noted by profiler John Kelly, may have been an escape from childhood bullying. Some speculate an incel complex, citing his social struggles and a murder's brutality, though this lacks evidence. Kohlberger's Reddit survey, posted for his PhD, asked criminals about their goals and emotions during crimes, which raised eyebrows. Dr. Phil called it odd, suggesting Kohlberger sought to understand criminal minds or to prepare. Prosecutors link it to the affidavit's evidence, like his phone being off during the murders, indicating planning. As an LPC, I see Kohlberger's signs through a clinical lens without assuming guilt. His 2011 post described depersonalization, feeling detached from oneself, like in a video game. In the DSM-5, this falls under dissociative disorders. It's often tied to trauma or severe stress, like bullying or visual snow's sensory overload. ASD's rigid thinking or flat affect could explain in the courtroom where he looks flat or lacks remorse. OCD compulsions like hand washing reflect anxiety-driven control, possibly intensified by custody stress. Drug use, if true, points to maladaptive coping, escaping the pain from social rejection. The incel theory, raised by an FBI agent, lacks DSM-5 grounding, but highlights loneliness and anger seen in extreme cases. Importantly here, mental illness does not cause violence, and people on the spectrum or who are depressed are likely victims rather than perpetrators. Idaho's lack of an insanity defense means Kohlberger's conditions may only mitigate sentencing, not a verdict. From a CBT perspective, Kohlberg's no self-worth reflects a cognitive distortion, like all or nothing thinking. Therapy can address the cognitive distortions and build self-esteem. And for ASD, social skills training might ease interactions, reducing isolation. OCD responds to exposure and response prevention, curbing compulsions. But in 2011, Kohlberg had no such support, and his world seemed to go up in smoke, consumed by detachment and despair. This case isn't just about Kohlberger. It's about us. Mental health stigma kept Kohlberger's struggles hidden, like many teens. Early intervention, like counseling and peer support, might have altered his path, but it's not a guarantee against crime. Our society often ignores awkward kids, leaving them isolated. Schools need mental health resources, not just more security. Families need tools to help identify signs like depersonalization or suicidal thoughts. And we need to talk openly without judgment. The Idaho victims remind us of life's fragility. Kaylee, Madison, Zana, and Ethan were vibrant, loved, and their loss ripples. Their families pushed for justice, frustrated by delays, but healing starts with community. Let's honor them by fostering connection, not fear. Kohlberg's story shows mental health struggles. His diagnosis of ASD and OCD don't excuse his actions, but they highlight the need for early support. As we wait for his trial, let's focus on understanding, not vilifying mental illness. So that's the story. What do you think? Do you think Kohlberg is guilty? Do you think his mental illnesses and his past trauma has affected him to what he did and what led up to this? What do you think the families of the victims are going through? I'm sure they're going through a lot of loss, a lot of grief, a lot of frustration, anger, so many different emotions. And then there's the family of Kohlberg and what they're going through. There are so many different mental health themes throughout this story. It's a tragedy. And then you think about a more community-wide trauma with the University of Idaho and what they may be going through. These types of tragedies last far into the future, far beyond the news reports. Let's not forget the families. Let's not forget about the need and highlight the importance of getting early intervention. If Brian would have received mental health support when he was a teenager at his school, who knows? Maybe that would have prevented this. So many schools around the nation do not receive enough funding to be able to have a mental health facility or mental health professionals meeting with students and helping them navigate their mental illness. We need to do a better job. There's got to be something that we can do. I would love to know your input. What do you think about this case? What do you think about Brian's diagnosis of being on the spectrum, his OCD, his trauma? I would love to know your thoughts here. Comment below and let me know. That's all for today. Subscribe for more therapy crime scenes coming up.